But I always thought it would be interesting. Just imagine if someone, the first sort of education you ever had, if someone said, "Sweetheart, what do you know is true?" Wouldn't it be wonderful? What do you know is true? It's just as interesting when you get to be a 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70-year-old adult or 80-year-old adult or 90-year-old adult. What do you know is true? Know has that a rather high, it's a high standard, isn't it? Knowing means 99% isn't knowing. It's not enough. 100%, that's knowing. That's what you know. So it's a very relatively high standard. It's about the highest standard. It's what you know as opposed to everything else that you don't really know. And how much does a person know when you really look at it? What do you know? Very interesting, isn't it? Not what have you been taught? What do you believe? What do you hope? What are you 98% certain of? What do you got a good hunch about? What do you want to be true? What do you plead to be true? But what do you know? And when we look inside ourselves with this sort of sincerity as a starting point, what do I know? Most people would actually, if they really looked inside and they could be absolutely sincere, they would realize that they know absolutely nothing except that they exist. And even that might be a little shaky. What do you absolutely know? And it's amazing how little holds up to this standard of absolute knowledge, absolute knowing. Nisargadatta used to say, the one thing you can know inherently and immediately is I am. That you can know. I am. I exist. Even if you doubt your existence, you're still there to doubt your existence. Therefore, you exist. Not as you think you exist, but nonetheless, that's the one thing you can know for certain. I am. You may not know what I am is, you may have no idea what you are, but you can be certain that you are. Outside of that, what really comes up to the standard of true knowledge? Because this is association with truth, after all, is it not? Satsang, association with truth. And in our culture, I imagine in any culture, and then of course in our spiritual culture, truth gets bantied about in a very light way. We talk about things that as if we know certain things are true, when we actually don't know whether they're true at all. And so when you really look very sincerely, it is absolutely amazing how little that you can actually know for certain. And so this is the beginning of freedom. This is the beginning of awakening from the dream. Because what we awaken from is all the stuff we think we know that's not really true. In fact, total liberation is the total realization of what is true, of what is absolutely so. And quite fortunately, since there is only ultimately one thing, one truth that is absolutely so, since there is only one truth that is absolutely so, You don't have to worry about picking among 10 or 20 truths, wondering if you found the right one. You've either found the one that's true, or we haven't. I mean, this is actually the beginning of spirituality. What do I know for certain? Do I know anything for certain? And as I said, we intrinsically know I am, whether we feel good about that or not. So we know I am. But does one know what this I am is? Everything else becomes secondary knowledge. In relationship to truth. Again, if we see truth as that which we know, very high standard.